Good morning. In this video I will combine foundering car knowledge with dog knowledge. So this is a boat. So first of what will we tell on the topic of foundering car, more on the investment side, spreading investments. But also on the dog side we will talk about the optimum in dog size. So first off, for example, I told about this in the Founder in Car series as well. If you have an asset, you can place all your eggs in one basket and go big. For example, you can buy a big house and then rent it out and get some returns on that. Very oftentimes you have to get a mortgage as a someone that hires property to get there, or you could do it another way. If you compare that with a dog, if you have, for example, a need, let's say you have a need to deal with predators, being very big ones in animal size or humans or smaller ones. For example, let's keep it on the animal side. You have to deal with animals of the boar type. You could go like that big house. You could go with, for example, a bulikuta, which is an enormous big dog, sometimes approaching 100 kilograms, looking like a extremely strong and capable Great Dane. Or you could go with a little bit like in the investment side, with a house, for example, 400,000 euros, if you get the mortgage right. Yes? But you could also go for smaller dogs, for example 2 band dogs that weigh half of that bulikuta. And they could also deal with threats. The bulikuta, of course, when it hits the hawk, it will have a very bad time. That hawk will, because it's almost as heavy as an average hawk, especially a female hawk, and it is there for the work, and it can have an enormous impact. But if 2 band dogs would attack that hawk, in my opinion, my personal opinion, I think that hawk would have at least the same troubles. And they also can easier pinpoint. For example, if the first dog will not have that grip on the hawk, the second can, because the first already engaged and they can work together better. It's the same with that house. You could get one big house of 400,000 euros or get 2 smaller ones of 200,000 euros. And that would spread your risk tremendously. Because of course, if that one house is without any trouble, you will get a lot of rent in. But if you have 2 houses and you do not get all the rent, you still have the other house that does. Whereas if you don't get all the rent with one big property, you still have the cost, for example the mortgage, but you have no income. So it will be purely parasitic than on yourself. But you can even go smaller. If you look at one bulikuta versus 2 band dogs, you could get like 4 bull and terriers, Irish Staffordshire bull terriers, American pit bull terriers, that size, for the same weight of that one bulikuta or that 2 band dogs. So instead of, for example, as I mentioned, 2 houses for 200k instead of 1 house of 400k, you could, for example, have a multiplex with 4 very small houses, more of a room, room plus, and get that for that same price. So that 4plex would cost the same as 2 smaller houses or that 1 very big house. And then you still get the income, of course. In the best case scenarios, everything is rented, but if it's not, everything is rented out, you will still have income from those that are rented out. And also for Bull Terriers would certainly deal with a hog very well. As I mentioned, it's the same as those two band dogs. Of course they will be a lot weaker, but 4 of them, they will easily control the hog. Even easier than that Bulikuta or those 2 band dogs would. And then the last point, you could even go, instead of 1 Bulikuta, 2 band dogs, 4 Bull Terriers, you could go with 8, the size of a Patterdale. And a Patterdale is not capable normally of handling a hog, but if you have 8 of them, you have still a good chance. And there is an optimum. If you go too little, it will be hard, but 8 can still do a lot of control. You could do the same with this house, so 1 big house, or 2 smaller ones, or 1 4-plex, or 8 self-storage boxes or something like that. And the thing is also, if you compare self-storage boxes to, for example, Patterdale Terriers, they mature very quickly and they live a long life. A self-storage box, what can go wrong? It's like a concrete box. So minimum upkeep and very easy in use and reliable. The dog you see on the leash is a Bull Terrier, but that of the Patterdale variety, so the smallest one. And of course there are ups and downs. I try to give you a balanced view now. But for example, if you have a garden, it could be hit and miss. For example, if you have a very big garden and you have 2 band dogs and they are both at the opposite corners, it might take a while for the second band dog joins. Whereas if the Bulikuta would engage, it would either be missing the hog, that would be bad I think, or it will engage the hog, but then it is there with its full force. And the same can be said if you have spread the dogs over the total field, so to say, with those other varieties. Of course, the smaller they are, the easier a hog will deal with them one by one. But on the other hand, if you just make it a little bit, you can still have all the others chiming in quite fast. And the same with the storage boxes. If 1 or 2 get burned down, or die, so to say, in the translation with the hogs facing off with the dogs, but you still have the other ones. So of course you will be devastated, especially if you have such quick losses. But if fire hits a house or fire hits a storage box, the outcome is often quite the same. You cannot use them anymore, and very often the damage is tremendous. But in the storage box, in my opinion, the damage will be far less. It could be that there are some valuables stored by someone who rented, of course, but you can also insure for that. So I hope you like this little rambling. Goedemorgen. Ja, zeker. Hoi hoi.